Yeah, the French Angel, Maurice Tillet, and this is before Andre the Giant. Maurice Tillet has, and I have the bust of his death mask, bronze that Paul Bosch got. But he had a head. So let's imagine it was the head of Andre the Giant on a 6 foot frame. He had the giant disease and everything, and he grew abnormally large. His head was very large. His hands were very large, but his body was normal sized body. And he was booked, as they had God, they had Swiss angels, they had the angel, and he was the French angel, Maurice Tillet. Um, they would call him, the freak of nature. This was another one of those that you would look at and it was just like, oh my God. Uh, Credited for being the inspiration for the movie Shrek. Mike Myers allegedly, designed Shrek kind of like the French Angel, Maurice Tillet, but a very unique individual, and drew on his look and his freakish look for people to come and it's like, hey, you used to have it in carnivals when they would come to town and they would travel the circuit, and it was called the freak show, where you had like the bearded lady and the cheetah boy and just all these different freaks of nature, Siamese twins, and they're all gimmicks and stuff. Well, the French Angel was that gimmick, and his gimmick was the size of his head, and then he had a very unique and kind of freakish look to him. When he was on his deathbed, he knew he was going to die. Bobby Manigoff, an old wrestler, a friend of Maurice Tillet, Bobby Manigoff talked him into having his head doing a death mask because his head was so unique and just this large, abnormal head, that they got him to do the mask and do a death mask for him. That mold was then sent to Milo Steinborn in Florida. Milo sent it to Paul Bosch. Along the way, I believe Milo made a couple of wax molds from it. I think there's one in the York Barbell Museum. I think there's one in the Waterloo, Iowa Wrestling Hall of Fame. And there's a gentleman somewhere, Milwaukee or Minnesota, I don't really know, and he has a wax one. I have the only bronze one because Paul got it, and Paul did a bronze of it. We got all the pictures of him, going through the process and being there and actually, breaking the plaster off of it for the bronze. But an amazing, those are, the two wax ones, and just an amazing looking character. Always heard from people that knew him. He, obviously he was French, but did a lot in Montreal. So a lot of my Montreal compatriots, they would always talk about just he didn't like the fame. He didn't like the people staring at him. He knew he was unusual. So he would always try and dress to the nines and, very nice suits, and would always wear a hat and try to have a hat that could cover as much of his head as he could. But it's kind of hard to hide that. He went through life, I think, trying to be in the shadows a little bit. But incredible guy, and I'll post a picture, Dave, you can, of the bronze bust, and it's yeah, very, 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 very cool piece of art that I have. And the best part is, again, it's lifelike, it's life size and everything. I used to have at my house in League City, had a big glass front door. And as you came down the street, because I lived on a corner, you could like see the door. And we had Maurice on a table that was kind of like in the hallway, and it was a profile of him. So I would leave the lights on behind Maurice, kind of like down in the living room area, and keep the rest of the house dark, so that as you came and approached the house, all you would see, and it would make it larger, is this silhouette of this monster head and everything. And I always felt that would kind of detract.